What's shaking, YouTube? And welcome to the CovrPrice Top Shakers of the Week. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. Yes, it is Bad Batch Eve. So, yeah, you got that to look forward to. If you notice, we got a special guest. But before we introduce him, while you guys are congregating, let me get you guys a little something in the mood, man, to get you get ready for the weekend. Ryan said he wanted something funky.
Funky, baby.
Let's keep it funky.
Yo, man, it's Thursday night. I think you need to hit him in the face with a fish, son.
Do you need? Okay.
I think you need to hit him in the face.
Jack is like, what the hell did I get myself into?
I'm here at Barry Island Beach, and there's no sign to stop.
I could literally play that. There it goes on for another 4 minutes. I can see her getting hit with a fish for literally 5 minutes. Darkside Jedi, say what's up to the good
Hey,
people.
happy Thursday, everybody. It's a Shakers list, and we got a good one tonight, I think. What do you think, fella?
It is quite unique with a lot of weird independent comics.
I like
and
it.
I think it's perfect segue for the person to come and help us talk about it. My man, Jack, a.k.a. Mr. Bolo. Say what's up to the good people.
Oh, what's going on, man? Happy to be here. I think this is my second time on the channel, but long time in between the gaps. So I'm hyped to be here.
You were on a long time ago. But then me and Manimal were on your show, so
Yep.
we're doing some reciprocation. That's what
Right,
we're doing,
yeah.
man. Yeah, man. Longtime friends of the channel, aka Mr. Bolo. If you don't follow him Instagram and all of his socials, Simple Man, good friends of the channel. Once again, the show is sponsored by our friends, literally our friends, because Jack knows them too. At CovrPrice.com. Sign up. Go to CovrPrice.com. Sign up for a 2-week free trial or $6.99 a month to get all your price guides, collections, and trends. The show is also sponsored by our friends over at KRSComics.com. Go to KRSComics.com. Use discount code of 15% LOTLB to get 15% off your daily pools every Wednesday at KRSPoolbox.com. And I guess you're thinking there's got to be a comic tomorrow, right? No, there isn't. Psych, there is. This Department of Truth variant drops tomorrow. On the left is Natalie Sanders. On the right is Warren Liu. This drops tomorrow. It's going to be hot. I think it's Department of Truth number 5. The exclusive variant from KRS Comics. It drops at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. You know Ryan's going to jump all over that.
Yes,
Natalie
I'm
Sanders
gonna.
variant.
Yes,
so,
yes. And
KRS doesn't do a lot of these, like Department of Truth or something that's killing the children. So it's pretty rare that he, they do these. But
you don't really see a lot of independents. It's DC
every now and then
Marvel.
they will. They used to do some IDW stuff with the GI Joe stuff, but it's nice to see them do a Department of Truth. And who else to do women than Warren Liu
Two of the
and
best.
Natalie Sanders, right? Two hot artists.
Yes.
So this list is brought to you by our friends over at CovrPrice, focusing on news sales and the most interesting sales found on their exclusives daily Shakers list. This list changes several times a day, so make sure you check it out to review some of the hottest trending books on the market. Let's get things started. We're going to put Jack right to the fire, and he's going to start it off. What do we got for the first one, Jack?
All right. Well, we're starting off with a classic here with Akira #1. Originally released in Japan in 1982, Akira was subsequently released by Marvel via Epic Comics in North America in 1988, making it one of the first manga ever to be completely translated into English. This highly stylized art by Katsuhiro Otomo is considered groundbreaking on many levels, including being the first comic to be colored digitally using computers and the first comic in the Western world to be printed on slick paper with 4-color process, much like modern American comics. Akira also earned Otomo the Eisner Award in 1992. And this week we saw a remarkable CGC 9.8 sale of the first issue for $1,200, eclipsing the previous record sale of $950 just 10 days prior. High-grade raw copies can still be purchased for under $100, but that black cover, flat spine, oversized shape, and sharp corners make this one tough to reach in that coveted 9.8 graded status.
Yes, it does.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, man.
Even that picture, I don't think is a 9.8.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm actually surprised it's so cheap, to be honest with you. When an Akira live action film does happen, this book will explode.
No.
Absolutely.
Especially right now in the era we're in, where it doesn't have to be originally a comic property. In this case, it was a manga, but then it obviously came to the U.S. During the shutdown. I saw this in glorious 4K at the AMC theaters. They had like an anniversary release of it. So I remember last October we had a month opening. A small month opening where theaters were reopened. But there was no new movies to show. So we were just watching like all these old movies. And I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go see Akira. And it's still trippy to this day. The animation is still good. I mean, it's obviously not what I miss about anime now is it's not traditional, what they would consider, animation. It's all like pretty much CGI animation nowadays. But back then it was painstakingly done, the animation process, and the Japanese are very well known for this. So #1 on the list, boys and girls, is Akira, issue #1 from January 1988. The next one has a similar theme to it. What do we got, Ryan?
Next one, we got Bitterroot #1. This is the MCS eBay variant. And related to Akira is this limited 500 copy MCS eBay variant of Bitterroot #1, aka the Akira homage. We saw this high grade sale of $500 this past week, and a sweet CGC 9.8 copy reached $757. Graded 9.8s are currently all listed at the $1,000 or more price range. Let's see if someone pulls the trigger on one of these gorgeous and pricey homage covers.
It's crazy, Jack.
And we had a Bitterroot yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, you've been paying attention to Bitterroot, and because they do a ton of movie homage covers, which I sadly I only have one. I have the Purple Rain one, but they've been killing it doing all these movie covers, and now that it's been optioned, and we all know what option means, but people are going back and looking at these movie variants. So this is, to me, like Bitterroot #1 has been optioned, but it's also an homage to Akira, which also has a live action movie in development. It's almost like a double spec, right? It's like, hey.
This one hits multiple categories, which is what you really want when you want to see a book go nuclear. So you're absolutely right. You're getting the Bitterroot spec playing into this one, as well as getting that Akira fan base who naturally, any Akira homage does exceptionally well in the market. That's been pretty consistent. So you kind of get both. And now that Bitterroot has, like, they've got their director, they've got a producer, they're moving forward with that film. You're only going to see these go up.
Yeah, and limited to 500 copies. So you got, like, it's a trifecta. You know what I mean? So hopefully it comes to fruition, man. So Bitterroot #1, the MCS eBay variant, which is an odd title for it, but anyway,
what does MCS stand for? I wonder.
It's my comic shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sold on eBay. So that they were trying that out where My Comic Shop was fulfilling the variants. eBay was selling them only on the site. Extremely cheap.
Mr. Bolo has already upped the intelligence level of the show by 50% by just being on here. So.
For real.
All right, what do we got next? What do we got, Jack?
All right, well, we're staying in the independent realm with Black Boy Fly, the C2E2 preview edition #1. This self-published issue was sold during various conventions in 2017. The central character, Flyboy, is also the focus of fine artist Herbu Brantley, who co-wrote this comic and cover art by Max Sansling. Herbu is a rising star in the art world and uses Flyboy as the star of his sculptures, murals, and artwork in real life. He has a massive presence in Chicago, and this is the first appearance of Flyboy in comics and the first professional comic art of Herbu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but who knows? Both comic fans and Herbu Brantley art fans are seeking this book out. So again, you're in that 2 market area again. Limited to a mere 100 copies. This book is dried up quickly, and this is one hard book to find on the market. In October 2020, releasing in October 2020. However, 2 copies have been on the market recently. A raw sold on 5/23 for $1,700, and a CGC 9.0 sold this week for $1,250. It will most likely be a long time before another copy shows up on the market, and it'll be real interesting to see what that copy goes for.
I'm curious to see what the hell the raw copy was that sold more than the 9.0. God, I mean,
but this isn't the first time we've seen Black Boy Fly on. I don't know if it was on this list or if it was on the top 10 list a few months back. I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I doubt if it was on the top 10 list because this is one of those really low.
Okay, then it was probably on a Shakers list months back, but
yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it's Hebrew. Maybe it's
that might be it. That might be.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to sound too insensitive or whatever. Just keep on saying Hebrew, but it's HUBRU. But it is gorgeous. His art is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's really standout. I mean, you see, as soon as you see it, you know it's like almost elevated from your typical comic art.
I mean, Jack, you follow a lot of new comics and trends. Have you noticed there's a lot of, I wouldn't call them mainstream artists, but more pop culture artists and artists from other, genres that are coming into the comic book world, and they bring their followers with them. And
absolutely. And it's now publishers are seeking that out now. They're looking for these artists who have kind of contemporary art experience, who are building followers, especially ones who can cultivate followers on social media. So I think this is going to be a trend we're going to continue to see. And part of that is the respect that the comic book market is starting to kind of get on a mainstream level, whether it's a big distributor like Penguin Random House picking up distribution of Marvel. Like, these are the kinds of moves that are starting to get attention from the mainstream business public, and that includes the mainstream art public.
Yeah, I would say the word respect and put emphasis on spec Because I think you and I both are in agreement that there's an influx of cash coming in from the GameStop type folks, the trading card people, they're coming into our world now and driving up prices, which are good for the people who are holding it, but it's just more visibility. And this can be a discussion for another time, with Jack about is this potentially a bubble? And I think that we have a solid foundation now to where if a bubble did burst, prices wouldn't drop drastically like they did in the 90s, as we have much more, of a larger base of collectors, more means and ways of buying comics and selling comics. So I just think we're better situated now.
Sure.
Obviously it seems to be, for inflation, like some comics I always notice, I was like, that seems kind of cheap for a first appearance of Shang-Chi. Then I see 16,000. Well, now it's just like, for 16,000 for a 9.8, that seems, I don't know, maybe not so. Like, first appearance of Doctor Strange for the longest time in the mid grade was pretty cheap. You can get like a 5.0 for like, 2,000, but now it's up to 5,000, which I think should be correct, right, for these old legacy characters, right? But there you go. BLK Black Boy Fly #1, the C2E2 preview edition from 2017, a cool 1254 9.0. What do you got next, Ryan?
Next up is Inhumans #5. We've known about Yelena Belova for a while now, and while her first appearance in this issue has been hot, it sure has taken a long time spiking in value. The way every other MCU related book has. For a while, it wasn't clear how big of a role that Yelena would play in phase 4 of the MCU. However, we now know that there are big plans and collectors are now finally investing in this book. This week, a CGC 9.8 hit a new high of $750.
Still grossly undervalued.
I agree.
Yeah.
Some reason, I think Inhumans, they have a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
Over the show, and like, I don't know, Inhumans kind of got the Justice League treatment.
Yeah, so my sources have told me that there is going to be a Black Widow sequel, and it is going to be Yelena Belova as the, kind of Scarlett Johansson passing the mantle. Scarlett Johansson is pushing 40 years old, which she still looks great, by the way. But I still think Scarlett Johansson's not done in the MCU for some crazy reason. I don't think she is, and I think if they, curious to see how the mantle is passed in Black Widow. But I think, if Yelena does a bang up job in the Black Widow movie, I've already heard from, my man Mikey Sutton that they are working on a Black Widow 2 sequel. I mean, it's kind of been like, what took you so long to make a Black Widow movie? But from the trailers that I've seen, looks fantastic and opening up a whole new world of just specking on Russian superheroes, right? You know what I mean? Marvel kind of has like a bunch of these kind of Russian superhero teams and superhero Omega Red, Crimson Dynamo. What was that team called? The Crimson Guard? Or yep. There's tons of them out there. So just like what they could do with Excalibur and UK heroes, they could do that in Russia. So there you go, man. So Inhumans issue #5 from 1999. What do we got next, Jack? So gotta have some Golden Age on here.
Right, yeah. I think my fellas in the chat who are trying to count the amount in their collection are not going to be thrilled with this one. We're looking at Lawbreaker Suspense Stories #11, which comes from Carlton Comics in 1953. Well, this is one guy that took the phrase "cat got your tongue" a bit too literally. And if you ever start to question why the Comics Code Authority was put in place, here's another prime example of likely why. A CGC 4.5 copy of this brutal cover sold for a record of $3,000 this week, easily cutting down the prior high sale in this grade of $657.25 from way back in 2008. This rare book, with only 62 universal copies on the CGC census, has popped up quite a few times for sale in the last year, and it keeps hitting records. It's easy to see why this book has been in so much demand from the pre-code horror collectors, and it doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon.
This, on our weekly Shakers list, we've seen a lot of pre-code horror being sold at really high prices because people are, I don't know if they're just realizing how crazy they were. I mean, in 1953.
They've always been.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of horror. The horror genre for Golden Age is a huge collector niche.
Especially pre-code and the EC stuff. I mean, it was just gnarly. I mean, it was just like
There's
half naked.
There's a great account on Instagram, Black Cat Comics. I recommend checking him out
Yeah.
if you like this kind of stuff.
For those who old school cats on YouTube, remember Hero Hunter 81?
Yes.
Oh my God, he used to show the most rare books that nobody was collecting. Shout out to Hero Hunter. I remember I asked him like a year and a half ago. He goes, "Nah, I kind of quit that, man. You know, you see him post on Instagram every now and then, but if you find Hero Hunter 81, man, that is the dude that has the oddest and rarest of the rare, man. What was that pirate girl comic? Jack, help me with this. What was that? It was like a ashcan. Do you remember that? It was like a pirate girl something. It's like one of the rarest comics that you could ever see. But I'll try to find out for you. I always forget.
I'm not sure.
Lawbreaker Suspense Stories, issue number 11 from 1953. $3,000 on a 4.5. There you go. Here's something. I think, Jack, you've been talking about this on your social medias about these type of IPs, and and you should be looking for these in comics, right?
Oh, absolutely.
This is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe #1. This is the Terry Dodson variant, and it was recently asked to the CovrPrice folks what their favorite Terry Dodson cover is, and their immediate answer was, without hesitation, this She-Ra variant. They definitely love Master of the Universe. Who doesn't? We all love Master of the Universe, but this cover is damn near perfection. And then a days later, a copy hits an all-time high of $500 raw. $500 raw, which is a mere $100 under the all-time high sale of $600 for a 9.8 back in 2018.
Bruh, it's She-Ra riding a pink unicorn.
You can't not love that, right?
Come on, man. Come on.
The face on that horse alone.
Oh, whoa. Hey, now I thought you were going to call you were calling She-Ra a bad word there. Come on now.
Unicorn.
$500 for a raw comic. Man.
This one with a lot of potential too, still where it's at, because this is a real classic. If you're like a He-Man Masters Universe collector, this is a classic. This is one of the modern grails for most He-Man collectors. So as Masters of the Universe starts to become kind of like get its second shot with like the Kevin Smith Netflix show, I think we're going to start to you're seeing more and more toys in stores. It's getting introduced to a new generation. This is a book with like really unlimited potential, because it's always going to be looked at as like one of the core variants. I liken this one a lot to like that Supergirl Legion of Superheroes 23 use. This is like that within this niche.
Yeah, that it's like that with much less cleavage. Because I know you're the one you're talking about. Yep. All right, so He-Man and the Masters of the Universe #1, the Terry Dodson variant from DC Comics. Remember that if you're listening on podcast, not the there's been different iterations of it, but this is from the DC Comics from 2013 run. All right. Hey, for all you 90s kids out there, this one, you're going to dig this.
Oh, yeah. From my favorite era in comics, we've got Sam Keith's The Maxx #1, the Black Ashcan from Image Comics in 1993. And we've touched upon the high market interest in the early Image titles, but focusing on the hard-to-find variants and ashcans. Ashcans were super popular in the 1990s and are essentially smaller versions of what today's publishers produce, which is more like a first issue. For the Maxx, issues 1 through 3 all had blue, red, yellow, and black ashcan versions of each issue. However, this black version is estimated to have around 50 copies and is very tough to find. Hence, this week's raw sale of 2,436 is a wake-up call to those who said 90s comics are worthless.
Wow.
Abundant.
All you have to do is mention 90s comics. My man Gabe's loves 90s comics will appear. It's like Beetlejuice. This black cover is impossible to get in a high grade. And then in an ashcan as well. $2,436 for a raw comic. That is incredible. For those 90s kids or 90s babies, you remember there was a really cool Maxx cartoon that was on MTV. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
And I mean, and that animation to me was way ahead of its time. I thought it was incredible. And that was when
MTV they had all that liquid TV, man. All those animations were really cool.
Now we just have like reality shows. So I don't know. It's MTV went from like music TV to really cool, cutting edge kind of animation. And remember, Ian Flux also was debuted on MTV. So man, it'd be cool to see if the Maxx on the big screen. That would be incredible. But to me, it would have to almost be I don't know if you can do a live action, right? It would have to be animated, call me crazy.
But I mean, with CGI now, animation becomes
that's true.
A different thing, right? So you could do either the Spider-Verse style of animation to the Pixar style of animation to you could go any number of things that could really make it stand out. But I agree with you, when in that early 90s period, when we had the Maxx, and we had the Maxx cartoon, and then we had the Spawn cartoon, and we were getting multimedia left and right from these early Image days. I think we're starting to see kind of that comeback now.
Yeah. Good old nostalgia. It's like people, who grew up in the era are adults now with disposable income, and 2021 has really been about nostalgia. I mean, be it video games, trading cards, or whatever. It's finally coming back, so that's good, man.
Look at what we've seen with the video game comic books. Like,
exactly,
that's been crazy.
Everything. So, yeah. All right, so there you go. The Maxx #1, the black ashcan from 1993. What we got up next?
Up next is Stray Dogs #1. This is the Blair Witch variant, homage, I would say. This is from Hive Comics. Tony Fleece's and Trish Forstner's Stray Dogs series is a big hit. The first several issues and all their various homage variants are moving up in value pretty quickly. Their horror movie poster homage is so well done and highly collectible, as you can see by this cover. Some of the rare ones, like this Blair Witch homage from Hive Comics and drawn by Stan Yak, was limited to 500 copies and cost $14.99. This week, a CGC 9.8 sold for a new high of $405.51. Pretty specific number there. Keep an eye on the series. Grab some of those second print homages if you're looking for a cheap buy-in.
You know what? When I first saw this, I had vibes of witches.
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean? But then when you look at the dog's eyes, and then you're like, okay, how in Blair Witch, she kind of. I remember seeing that movie in the theater. It was like the most hyped movie ever, and really, there was probably
It got me, dude. I saw that movie at the top of the hype. My ex-wife made me stop at a drugstore to get an entertainment magazine to see if it was real or not.
Yeah, because if you think about it, this is really early, internet, right? And this is the first found footage film that's kind of started the whole thing. I mean, you were just kind of waiting for something to happen. And then at the very end, spoiler alert, there was a dude standing in a corner. People were like, nowadays, people on the internet could capture that image, blow it up, and do whatever. Yeah. But I could have swore people thought he was levitating, standing in the corner.
There was so much water cooler talk about that scene.
Yeah. And it really started the mold of Hollywood saying, we could spend $100,000 and make $90 million. That's literally that. I mean, if you look at the budget of this Blair Witch, it was really like minuscule.
Look at all the found footage films that came after it. I mean, Cloverfield and all these other guerrilla style shots. It was a cool thing.
Yeah, and we're also seeing now. This is the second store exclusive variant that's been on this list this week, and what both of them kind of had in common, other than both being Image Comics, was that they are homages to some other classic piece of media. And I think that is the key. Is a lot of people are down on store exclusives, but store exclusives, if whatever the subject of the art is connects with an audience, they can be absolutely dynamic because of the low print runs.
Well, and it's nostalgia too, because a kid from 2021 is not gonna know what the hell the Blair Witch Project is. One of us guys see it and we're like, hey, is that the Blair Witch Project?
Right. He had a whole month where they did a movie homage cover.
Absolutely. I have the Matrix one, and I have the Purple Rain one that they did for I think it was Batgirl. They did a Purple Rain.
That's the standout. Yeah. There's also a great Joker, The Mask, which is really cool because obviously The Mask.
There was a Lost Boys. Did Teen Titans do Lost Boys, or was it? Nightwing or something.
And
I
I
don't
think
know, but
there's
it
an
was some good
Enter
ones.
the Dragon one for Grayson.
We can get real weird with it. There's a Justice League Magic Mike one.
Oh, yes, I know about that one.
There's a Superman Superfly one.
Oh, nice.
I have that one. I'll show it on Instagram.
All right.
It's awesome.
So Stray Dogs #1, Blair Witch from Hive Comics, dropped not too long ago, February 2021, selling for a cool $405. All right. This should make everybody. This should at least get a notch on everybody's belt on this one. You should have this one.
That's right. We're looking at Venom Lethal Protector #1, but we're talking about the newsstand.
Yeah. Is that a technicality?
Maybe they won't.
Get that? You get half credit.
Half credit. Right? Obviously, this comes from Marvel in 1993. So, my 90s people, what's up? This 90s book was a pivotal moment for Venom. Marvel started him out as Peter Parker / Spider-Man's ultimate villain. And then it took a hard left turn and turned him into a lovable, violent anti-hero post-Maximum Carnage. This cover is one of the most memorable books of the 90s, hence cementing itself in collector nostalgia. This week, a CGC 9.8 for this newsstand sold for a new high of $600. And remember, there is a sequel, Venom 2, on the way.
Yep. And if you really want to go deep into the weeds, look for the error variants for Venom Lethal Protector. I believe it, for some reason, during the printing, there's like an all black cover.
Yep.
But yeah, go on to recalledcomics.com and just look at them, and you can tell the scarcity of them. They have a nice little rating of from rare to somewhat rare. But I remember it's just all black. You can't see anything on it. And it was a mistake. And, collectors, we love mistakes, but, sometimes the mistakes are, one page is like black and white and the rest of them are color. But this one, the cover is totally just like the printing went off on it. I don't know if nowadays I'm surprised publishers don't do that on purpose. Like, oh, we made a mistake. You guys should buy, you know what I mean?
Oh,
it's,
man.
the closest we get to that nowadays is they throw in surprise variants every now and then. But there you go.
We accidentally printed 5,000 mistakes.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, Tim, don't give them ideas, man. Don't give them ideas.
I know, right? All right, so Venom Lethal Protector #1 that everybody had. I have had this for a long time, and for the longest time, I was like, "This is worthless." I didn't think I gave it to my nephew. I was like, "Who cares?" But you know what? It's 2021. So, all right, last one on the list is actually something we looked at last week, but hey, it made it on the list because it's an absolutely gorgeous classic cover.
And again, from the 90s, 1993, this was Wonder Woman #72, and this iconic Brian Boland Wonder Woman cover is highly sought after, and due to the all-white cover, it's tough to get one in high grade. 7.5 raws were selling for $45 and $52 this week, and hit a all-new high of $999 for a CGC 9.8. Brian Boland is another fan favorite artist that really brought new fans to Wonder Woman. His covers were dynamic, engaging, and reflected a modern lens with golden age sensibilities. His whole Wonder Woman run is worth picking up, and I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. I love this cover.
Well, I see a lot of people with some 0 for 10s, but there was a 3 for 10 in there, 2 for 10s, and there was a couple of accessible books. This Wonder Woman is classic, so classic they made a statue out of it.
Yeah.
But that is the Shakers of the Week, boys and girls. So as we always do, let's see what's shaking today. And Jack, what we do is we go over to the CovrPrice website and see what's going on the because it changes on a daily basis.
So these are today's daily shakers.
These are today's daily shakers.
Look, tomorrow might be different.
Yeah, I only have one. Oh my God. Fantastic for 49 in a 7.5 just sold for $3,500. Jesus criminy. Let me look at this because this doesn't look like a right price. What is this? This is
from 1999.
This is the German edition.
Yeah. So people are starting to get into those foreign editions.
Yep. Incredible Hulk, Invisit Wolverine, whatever that means. So, reprints, first full appearance Wolverine, 9.6, $3,500. So there you go, man. I showed off a book on Instagram not a couple days ago. It was Amazing Fantasy reprint.
Hey, take that thing off the screen. It's blocking the view.
What thing?
The Jeff Schultz. You're highlighting a chat.
Yeah. Yeah, forget you, Jeff Schultz.
Get out of here. Get out of here, Jeff.
There you go. Sorry about that. So I remember I showed my Amazing Fantasy, which was a Turkish edition, but there's also, I don't know if I should tell you this. I'll tell you guys this because you know what? We want to share the knowledge here. There's also a Swedish or Turkish variant of Hulk 181. So it's a reprint, but same thing here.
Exactly.
There's a German version. There's Turkish editions as well. So the Amazing Fantasy one is a literal reprint of Amazing Fantasy 15, but it has Spider-Gwen carrying Miles Morales on the cover, which I think makes it kind of a cool collectible. Let's see what else we got. Journey here. I guess we were just talking about this. Let's talk about this again because this is the gold variant of Lethal Protector #1. Back in the days, 1993, guys, we love gold and platinum covers. I can't tell you why, but we liked it. Okay,
because
we wanted
it's shiny.
everything. Yeah, exactly. But the platinum ones are actually worth more than the gold ones, considering But a 9.8 sold for $1,500. I'm going to see what the highest known value is. Let's look at all the different ones actually. So. There's the white one, and one of these may be the error. If I want to see here. Yep, this is what see, you talk about it, and it shall come, boys and girls. This is the Venom Lethal Protector Black Error variant, as you can tell. It's an error black cover. 9.4 for $4,500. This is probably one of the more valuable error comics there are. There's a lot of them, but as printing has gotten better, you see less and less of these. So these are.
I just want to make a statement real quick. Go back up real quick to where it was showing the raw fair market value.
Mm-hmm.
The integrity is here in the website. I mean, they have an asterisk and it explains that that's an older than 6 month price. I mean, I love that about this website. So it's not just throwing up numbers and like, it's older than 6 months, puts it in perspective.
Well, yeah, because when you're talking about a book like this, they don't come up every, you're not going to see one, and the market has changed so drastically in the last 6 months, and especially timed with a film. If somebody was to put one of these up right now, raw graded wouldn't matter. You're gonna break records.
Well, let me look at the sales. I mean, whoa. There is a 10.0 on this guy.
Wow.
That's incredible. I mean, this book comes higher graded traditionally because of the thick cardstock cover.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can get high grades in this book, but it's shocking to me.
From 2010 though, and imagine if they sold it now.
Oh my God, it would be $10,000
more than that. I mean, it was in February 2010. It was $3,500. Yeah,
20 grand probably.
PC today. You might get more.
Yeah.
I mean, it to me, that would maybe be the grail of Venom collectors, because yes, you can talk about ASM 300, but if you look in the census, you're going to see a ton of copies of ASM 300, but you're looking at one. That's a 10-0. That is a true one of one. The closest thing we have in the comics market to one of ones is those books that grade so high they really can't be matched.
Yeah. Look at that, Invincible. Yeah, with Spider-Man India, we talked about that already. I love looking at these, by the way, from the Golden Age, 1934.
Yeah, definitely Golden Age.
Yeah, wow, 1934. A 3.5 sold for $900. But you know what?
I mean, it just blows my mind that they're so inexpensive when it's. I mean,
this one's cool. Famous Funnies, and this is featuring Buck Rogers. How about that, man? From 1954, Frank Frazetta, Buck Rogers cover. How awesome is that? Highest known value is from last year, $7,200, man. But how often are you going to see Frazetta drawing Buck Rogers? Everybody knows him for his fantasy art, right? But I mean, you got Frank Frazetta drawing Famous Funnies from the 30s. Good Lord have mercy.
Buck Rogers is another one with a film on the way.
Oh, I would love to see that.
That Famous Funnies up there looks like someone's getting blown apart.
Right.
It's not very funny.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh, that Vampirella one's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is Warren Comics, actually. So this is the giant size special issue Vampirella Possessed. This is a photo variant. Yeah, those are definitely photo models. Wow. From Warren Magazine, March 1979. 9.8.
Wow. That seems cheap.
Yeah, it does. I mean, rarely. This is pretty damn rare when you see any Vampirella. There's the evil droids.
Exciting.
I got it. Anytime
You have
Golden
to.
Age shows up on this, I have to. Featuring the Black Terror, the Nemesis of Crime, exciting comics from 1947. Issue number
Pines.
57. Raw comics sold for $432. That's not bad at all. I mean,
And
it's
that's
just
the highest.
you
known.
don't see it. You just
Yeah,
don't.
you don't.
You just don't see them. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, that seems rather cheap. I would buy it. Jeez.
It's one of the hardest things too. If you're like a reseller or a flipper out there and you're getting ready to hit the cons this season, when we're finally going to be able to get back to doing it, it's one of the hardest like markets to play in because there's so little sales data on a lot of these books.
Exactly.
It's hard to know. You have to basically see a book and believe when you see it. That if there's going to find a market. So a lot of times you're going off that cover. What's going on that cover?
Yeah. The reason I want to talk about this She-Hulk #1 is because picture dropped today. Mark Ruffalo in his mocap suit for the upcoming She-Hulk series. So there you go. You got confirmation that the Hulk is going to be in the She-Hulk series. So still think this is a grossly undervalued book. A 9.8 last sold on April for $1,700.
Let's see a She-Hulk trailer, and that will go up.
Oh yeah,
Guaranteed.
it's like what I always say. You guys have seen the set.
They're waiting for the trailers.
The set photos. You guys know who's cast, but it takes you to actually get a trailer and the hand of God to slap you in the face before you realize I should go out and buy it.
It's like going to buy a house and there's no furniture, and you can't really picture what it would look like with furniture in it.
That's why there's a million dollar industry called staging, where they stage your house for you. You know, because they be like, your furniture looks ass awful. Let me stage your house for you. And my girlfriend watches this show about these New York City.
Oh, I watched that shit. $1 million listing. That's awesome.
He was gonna say, how much is it gonna cost to stage this? And he said $150,000 to stage his apartment. But the apartment they wanted to sell exactly. So people would get real estate.
Right.
Here's actually gorgeous cover. Impossible to find in a high grade. Almost also say Conan
cover.
the Barbarian, first appearance of the Man Thing. Raw
Thing.
comic recently sold for $510. Highest
That's a
known
raw
value.
Man Thing.
Yeah, it's a raw Man Thing. That's what she said. Highest known value is 9.6 for $3,200. I'm telling you, when Man Thing makes his appearance, you know what? This is going to disappear. It's already hard enough to find as is. This is a weird entry. Let's take a look at this. Children of the Atom, the Jim Lee Hidden Gem variant, 1 in 100.
Okay.
Look at that wraparound.
Ooh, right.
That is 90s Jim
Real
Lee
pretty.
goodness right there, man. Look at that. A little Dark Phoenix action. Children of the Atom, 9.8, 510. This is definitely a nostalgia buy. To me, like 1 in 100s for 9.8 for 510, that's a good deal, right? I mean, because Jack, we've talked in this show where it's just as much as 3-4 years ago. Ratio variants, 1 in 25, 1 in 50, 1 in 100. They always dropped in price, but it seems to be the new trend now where some of the people are going back and buying these ratio variants, the higher ones, 1 in 100, 1 in 50, and they're holding their value, which is, in the past, people always say, hey, you want this variant? Just wait like 3 or 4 months. It'll go down in price. But it seems to be changing just a little bit, which is a good thing for collectors,
Yeah, and the biggest tip I could say to somebody out there if they're deciding whether or not this is a high ratio variant to wait on or to buy immediately would be to see how many stores are doing exclusives for that variant, because stores who do exclusives get a large number of high ratio variants and they're not attached to them because of it, and they want to make their ROI on the project in general. So they tend to sell those on the market a little cheap. And what that does is depress those high ratio variants. And a book like Children of the Atom, where you're not seeing there wasn't a bunch of store exclusives for that book. There was, I think, a few, but there wasn't a ton. So you're able to climb in value. If you can find those high ratio books that don't have store exclusives at all, especially, you can definitely see some growth.
And this is the perfect example of something that has a ton of store variants. And I think it's for issue 16, not this one, but issue 16. They are going all out. There are literally, YouTubers, Instagrammers, everybody's. Jack, do you have something that's killing the children?
But I'm probably the only one who doesn't.
No, I don't. I don't either.
For 16.
Now, 16 is apparently the origin of the character, correct? And so they're going all out.
It's part of a new arc. It's the origin. The series was only originally intended to go through 15 issues. It was supposed to be a limited run series. When the series picked up the level of popularity it did, they had to go back and bring in more stories, so that you had to kind of break between issue 15 and 16. 16 drops a new arc.
Jesus,
and you saw a ton of variants, but one thing Boom Studios is doing is they're only allowing store exclusives now on the first issue of every arc. So you will see a break for those like completionist collectors who are overwhelmed from issue 16. You'll get a break 17, 18, 19. So at the very least, I think that's good. And these printings here, like this one,
This is the sixth printing.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
Minuscule print run in comparison to what the first print is looking at. And even the first print is a small print run compared to the hits of today. I think people forget that Something's Killing the Children really started this kind of indie wave that we're back on right now.
Yeah, that Department of Truth, yeah.
Right, but you look at even Department of Truth. Department of Truth has like a 5 times bigger print run than Something's Killing the Children #1.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this is the first printing, and I do believe, right? This is the first printing. This came out 9.8. It's only 13.25. But subsequent printings, people have gone crazy over, especially this Friesan variant. Or Friesan, whatever. Jenny Friesan. This one, I don't know, Jack. What do you think? I mean, do you think the number of these reprints is just going to come back and just kind of deluge the market?
I don't think so, because they're so limited. If it was more like the way big two companies, I know a lot of people don't like the way the independent companies do the late printings because they're so low printed, but the big two companies do the late printings and they're much more accessible, and they tend to sort of have that dilution of the value. With the indie companies, they're so rare, they essentially become like limited variants. Then that's the way they get looked at. So I think that's part of it, is they're not necessarily looked at as a 6th print. It's really like a variant for issue #1, and a very, very rare variant, one you're not going to see very often.
Yeah, shout out to our man Matt DeVoe, who's in the live chat. Let me see, the Spider-Man India 9.8 sale is crazy. All right, I think he's giving us a hint. All right, I would look at it because I glossed over it. I'm gonna go back up to it and let's look at it.
I think it was towards the bottom.
I like how we saw first Inhumans in there too, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, first appearance, Pivotar Prabhakar, Earth. I'm sorry, 9.8 sold for 900. Let's just call it a cool grand. Highest known value as well, and I think this was on our cover price top 10 last week. So there you go, man. So if Spider-Man India ever pops up,
that's just a book you don't see in the wild.
Nope, not at all. I mean, it's a gorgeous cover. I mean, no doubt. I mean, it almost looks like it's painted.
But I'll tell you, it's also a book that I feel like you could find if you.
I saw this book in the wild 4 years ago, and at a store locally, digging through boxes. Didn't went right past it, but I remember it because of just you don't see Spider-Man India, so it was kind of burned in my brain. But kind of makes me want to go back and see if it's still there.
Well, yeah, because that's one of those
books. That's one of those books I could see a retailer not realizing what it is that they have.
I mean, it was in the middle of, the boxes somewhere. I mean, it's like hidden. So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, those real retailers, I don't know what they have. They just seem like far and in between now because everybody's on social medias and getting notifications from certain apps and they following websites that drop everything. But,
But also 3-4 years ago, this book was nothing.
Yeah. I'm going to look at this because there's been some recent Black Cat rumors about casting, and I just love this looking at this cover. I'd marry this cover too. Jason Scott Campbell.
Sexy.
This is The Amazing Spider-Man presents Black Cat, issue #1, the 1 in 50 variant from 2010. A 9.8 sold for 1,200 boleros. Wow. Hey, record sales sold on my birthday, July 24th. There you go. So if somebody want to send me this on July 24th, more power to you, man. But that's what's shaking today, man. Let me go full screen so you can see our beautiful faces.
Walking Dead is on that list. Wow.
We're also getting a little J. Scott Campbell renaissance. I think that whole art fixing controversy actually really put him back in.
Right. Because now people are going back and looking at all the covers that he's done, that we've known that he's always done. If you're, that who's Jessica B or B, the talk show host that used to be on the Daily Show, there was a thing that she went to a Comic-Con and she interviewed J. Scott Campbell, and talking about how women are drawn disproportionately, and he was in on the joke. He knew that she was going to do it. Samantha Bee, actually, right? And J. Scott Campbell was actually one of the guys that she had talked to. But if you think J. Scott Campbell is bad, go look at Battle Chasers by Joe Mad and look at the proportions on that one. That one is way out there, man. Way out there. So, hey, man, we're going to close off the show here. We're almost at an hour. But before we go, I'll let the guys say their thing. But remember, tomorrow, boys and girls, this gorgeous, gorgeous variant we were just talking about, the Department of Truth, is dropping tomorrow from our friends at KRSComics.com. So make sure you guys set your alarms. On the left there is, of course, our friend Natalie Sanders. On the right is Warren Liu. It's not Warren Lau, it's Warren Liu, because I actually met him and asked him. But this is Department of Truth. I believe it's number 5. Both are available. You can buy either one or both on KRS Comics website tomorrow. You can use the code of LOTLB, and you can save yourself 15% off. While you're at it, go ahead and pick up this up too. Clayton Crane. Actually, I'm sorry, it's sold out. I looked yesterday. This dropped on Wednesday and it's sold out in about 2 hours. All copies of it are sold out. Speaking of which, Darkside Jedi and I will be in Chula Vista, California for the Clayton Crane in-store signing for the grand opening of the KRS HQ. We're going to be out there, maybe go live, talk to Clayton Crane. You can get all your books, and they are doing a CGC submission. For those complaining about CGC, news just dropped. They are hiring 500 people for CGC. So I would say
gearing up for con season.
Wait a little bit, because the last time they hired a bunch of contractors and subcontractors to grade, it was wildly inconsistent. So just be leery. Just because they hired a bunch of people, let them work out the kinks. It's kind of like a brand new restaurant, right? You don't want to be the first person to the door. Let them kind of figure out the menus and everything before you start getting into and getting your shawarma. Speaking of shawarma, Darkside Jedi, any last words?
I appreciate y'all. Hey, thanks for joining us on this wonderful Thursday evening, and have a happy evening. And go watch Bad Batch at 3 a.m.
Well, noon
or
midnight
12
for me.
midnight for you.
That's right. Jack, my man, aka Mr. Bolo, thank you for coming on. You're always very knowledgeable, very, very well. Tell them what you're up to, where they can find you, and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit all over the place right now. If you're looking for a little bit of a different option because of those CGC woes, you can check me out on the CBCS podcast.
I knew you were going to say that.
You know that. Starting next Friday, we are moving from bi-weekly to every week. And it's a little bit different. So it's an 11:30 Eastern live show in the morning. So we're hitting you with a little bit of a different time slot.
Is that on YouTube or?
It's everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch.
Okay. On their official CBSI or CBCS page,
it's
YouTube
on
channel?
Beckett Media. The
Beckett Media. Okay, great.
Beckett Media, the sports card company. But yeah, so check me out there, as well as every Friday I drop an article on 137pm.com, entrepreneurship, tech.
Explain to people what 137.com is, because I've read your stuff on there, and it's a very interesting premise for a website. For those who don't know, it's not your typical comic book resources.com.
Right. Yeah, I am the first comic book writer for the site. It is for the young entrepreneur. It's kind of like a men's magazine style for a young entrepreneur.
Matt asked if he could find you on Tinder.
Not anymore. But yeah, so it's kind of a young entrepreneur, the alternative investor. We talk about that we're all about curiosity. It's the investor who sees a new niche and is really curious about it. So we've got NFT coverage, we've got sports card coverage, we've got crypto coverage, and then I worked very hard to kind of present the comic book community to them. They're part of the VaynerMedia stable, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. So I saw what he was able to do in the sports card market, and I wanted to get within his ecosystem in some way. And really, we've been at this for about 2 months. It's really picking up steam. We're expanding.
So it's your fault that all these large influx of cash is coming into the comic collecting world.
Man, I'm trying.
But you know what? It's a great thing though, because people are saying they're taking the money they made from their GameStop stock or the AMC stock or the NFT, and they're saying, what else can I buy? And I think comics have a bit more stability on them since they're, to me, it's like a long-term stock. If you can get like a key from the golden age or silver age, it's not going to depreciate in value like, GameStop, who's like a yo-yo going up and down. But I'm sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. I mean, that was my original pitch to 1:37 p.m. was, comic book characters, they're not going to get hurt. They're not going to get arrested for domestic assault and suddenly have their values tank. They're not going to retire after 8 years and then be done. And then with the films, we have a level of predictability. There's a level of, we've seen the way the market goes and the way the market reacts to things. In sports, you're always kind of waiting for something to happen. So I think as an alternative investment, if you were to compare it to the gains in the stock market, if you look at like a Hulk 181 or any of these classic keys, and you look at the returns that holders of that book have had over the last decade, it would rival any investment on the market.
That is true.
So I'm trying to speak about comics. If you check out the articles, I'm speaking about it. Some of my most experienced people may be like, okay, well, I know this, but that's the point, is I'm speaking to a crowd of people who maybe have never given comic buying and comic investment a try before. And we're trying to bring it to that new audience so that everybody at home who's sitting on these collections, the new market and the new money just raises the value of what you're already sitting on.
How many people still have that stereotypical thought of, oh, comic books are just kids' toy, kids thing. It's a toy.
Or nerds.
Nerd.
They don't realize. I was showing my girlfriend the other day. I said, hey, look at this. She kind of sometimes makes fun of me for my over collecting, but I'm like, here, look at this. And she's like, holy shit. She had no idea. You know what I mean? And so
it's
when you
just
see the return, it kind of makes up for that. Oh, you spent how much on a comic?
Yeah, but it's just the same of every other collectible that's considered a niche thing that kids started with, like baseball cards and things of other nature. Well, guess what? Those geeks or nerds or whomever you were calling them back when they were teenagers or even younger. Well, guess what? They grew up, they went to college, they got good jobs, and they're like, I can buy that comic now and I won't even sweat it. That's why we're seeing these gains like, oh, 16,000 for 9.8. Okay, here, I'll buy that. For the rest of us, that's like, man, that's a lot. But we're talking, you do not want Mark Zuckerberg to become a comic book collector, right? Because they could just buy, what I'm saying? Like if Bill Gates was a comic book collector, like the most famous comic book collector I know is Eminem, who has
Nicolas Cage is
he doesn't have Eminem money though.
Didn't he have? I thought he had
Nick Cage
Action One.
He had it stolen
through a divorce. And he had to make some sales through his divorce.
I know. Eminem has a high grade Amazing Fantasy 15 when he was talking about it. So it's kind of cool that he saw that. And what else do you have on this freaky new app that you're talking about?
Right. Yeah. So the other thing is I'm working with an exciting new app called the Whatnot app. So everybody out there, if you have not downloaded the Whatnot app, you can download it, Google Play, the iTunes store. It is a exciting new app that is taking, a lot of us are frustrated with eBay, right? We're frustrated with rising fees. And the biggest thing we're frustrated about is they don't care about the comic community. They don't care about the collectibles community. They're catering to their niche communities. So the Whatnot app is a brand new auction app. And it's similar to like an auction website, but it's on an app platform, and it is directly catering and only for the collectibles community. And then within that, it breaks up those communities, and each individual category, there's different people running it. It's focused on those. So I'm working with them on the comics side of things to really expand this out. And it is a combination of eBay in that you have all of the like protections, the seller protection, the buyer protection, the shipping fluidity and the way they help handle and manage it that you have through eBay. The biggest difference is you're doing it via live sale. So you're doing it similar to what you're doing on IG, what you're doing on YouTube. You can do either buy it now items, or you can do exciting, and I'm telling you exciting, 1 to 3 minute auctions that just get fast and furious bidding going. It allows you to also, for the retail stores out there, for the big influencers in the space, it allows you to leverage the communities that you have built and be able to draw a following. When you're on eBay, if you're Tim Vo, you're the same as everybody else.
Hey, not my government. I'm just kidding. You know what's interesting? What you say about eBay doesn't care about comic collectors. It's proof because just recently they removed the different categories, right? They used to be like, I can put it under modern age, silver age, bronze age, and now it's just under a broad term of collectibles. So, you know, before you used to be able to browse, let me go see just what's all under the silver age, or somebody from the comics world definitely helped write that, because they said modern, 75 and up, and then they went bronze age and silver age and golden age. And so what's interesting about the Whatnot app is that you can go live with it. And now, does it also work for, I guess, static sales? Like if you were to post a picture of a book on Instagram and sold it, would the Whatnot app work for that as well, or is it just for live sales?
Well, yeah, there is also a feature where you can add items as almost as if into a storefront on your page. So right now, and here's the other great process about this. Right now, you can download it and you can get buying immediately. To sell, you have to get into a queue process, and then you actually have to get vetted in order to get a seller account. So that's where you're getting that added level of protection, where to be able to get in, and we're actively bringing in sellers. That is one of my main tasks. Is
put in a good word for me. I got some stuff.
Yeah, I definitely got some stuff.
Absolutely. But that's what we're looking for. Is we're looking for to know that, like, either you've got seller experience or you know what you're doing. We want to make sure that, like, the quality of shipping is important versus eBay taking no responsibility in how, you know, people are shipping. Amazon is taking no responsibility in how people are shipping. And you're getting your books in whatever condition. These are collectibles, and each collectible space is different. So by taking a really nuanced focus into what the comic community needs, I think Whatnot is in a position to really make noise. And on top of that, it's really fun. It's fun to sell. It's completely different experience than eBay, and it's fun to be a part of and buy in those 1 to 3 minute auctions. I mean, they like, so much can happen.
Yeah, I gotta keep that out.
Yeah, there are some books that will go higher than market value, and there are some books that will go for absolute steals.
When you say a live sale, is it live sale as in a video, somebody talking, like an IG sale?
Yeah, what you will typically see from the comic buyers who are on the space, and everybody's doing it a little differently, but what you'll typically see is almost a setup like a sports card break, if you've ever seen it. So you'll use your cell phone, you'll go live, it'll focus on the comic. You won't see the seller, but the seller will be talking. You can play music.
Perfect. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Some people do things like, you can set up lights. You can do things like ring a bell when someone makes a buy. There's so much that you can do.
Because I really think that enhances the experience if somebody's talking to you. And through the app, can you ask questions about grades, conditions? See,
absolutely.
That's the thing about eBay is so kind of static, is you just look at the timer going down. You know what I mean? And it's like, do I have time to ask a question and he's going to respond to me via email? You know what I mean? It's like, that's very cool, man. So where can you find this app?
Yeah, it's in all of your app stores, in iTunes, in Google Play for Android. It's a mobile app. You can put it on your iPad. Check it out. Give it a look. There's live sales every day in every single niche. And if anybody out there has any questions or is interested in becoming a seller, hit me up. Hit me up on social media at AKA Mr. Bolo. I'm happy to help out and answer any questions. And we really want to make noise in the comic space.
Big question is, how much does it cost? Is it free?
The app is absolutely free. The current fee structure is about 5% less than what you are currently paying on eBay altogether, between the fees that you pay for the sale as well as the processing fee that, like, PayPal takes. So you're getting a 5% savings right off the bat.
And that's some bullshit now too, man. Whenever somebody pays for you and they deposit directly into your checking account and they already taken the fees from you, you're like, God damn, I thought I just sold this for $1,000. I just got back like, this X amount of dollars. So that's great stuff, man. So make sure you guys check out Whatnot. That's Whatnot. Okay. I'm not just saying Whatnot, but hey, man, Jack, thank you for coming on. Hopefully you can make this semi-normal. I'd love to have you back on, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be back on.
All right. So thanks for all you guys for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. Sunday, we're going live at 5 p.m. with the Letters from the Long Box with Mikey Sutton. And because you demanded it, we got a long-term spec list for the Blade movie franchise. So make sure you peep it out. Get your pens and paper ready. Mikey Sutton is waiting to drop this exclusive on Sunday. Until next time, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Now let's do this! Rewind, select and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is update. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back!
Can't do my job.
You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.